Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another HD broadcast, and we're going to be looking at another game with FruitDealer, our favorite fruit-selling Korean Zerg player. He's going to be the red Zerg player down here on Metalopolis at the 6 o'clock position, and if you guys haven't seen this game, go ahead and check out the last one. It's between FruitDealer. I gotta remember to call him FruitDealer because, of course, that's a more awesome, more cool name, and he was playing against Hope Torture, so make sure to check out that. But here we go, gonna continue the FruitDealer broadcast. He's going to be playing against oGs.TheStC, which I've done quite a few games of already. You guys all know how great of a Terran player any player from OGS really is, and how great of a Terran player the STC is. So I think this is going to be a pretty good matchup. Do note the spawn points are Zerg player FruitDealer at the 6 o'clock and the STC, the green Terran player, at the 12. Now notice that because of these positions, I think the Zerg player definitely has a small favoring towards him, especially on this map, definitely a more Zerg favored map. When they cross spawn, all of these expansions that I'm boxing in here are all areas that the Zerg can expand to and doesn't really have to worry about Zerg pressure. And of course I get a bunch of people PMing me, so I do have to set myself to busy. Unfortunately, sorry Daniel, I'll get back to you after this broadcast. But yeah, once again going to be an exhibition matchup, I believe, although no, this may be a tournament. I remember reading the chat early on. Somebody started talking, so I think this might be a tournament broadcast as well. But regardless, it is going to be a Zerg versus Terran, the matchup that I do definitely enjoy casting. Any Zerg versus Terran matchup, I love to watch how the Zerg player plays, and I love watching the Terran harass, because that really epitomizes the pressure and the beauty of Starcraft, and controlling your economy, being able to deal with harass, and also affecting harass as well. So let's see what the players are doing here. They're just moving out with their scouting workers. It looks like STC has opened very standard, 12 racks, 13 gas, nothing too telltaling about what he's going to do yet. And obviously as a Terran player, you have a lot of different opportunities here. Looks like the drone here is going to be repelled by the Marine. Wow, did you guys notice that Marine moving over to block the drone off from getting inside? That was really nice micro. But obviously the Terran here can throw down a factory, and it looks like it will be a factory right at the opening door. This is not all that susceptible to a Baneling bust like we saw FruitDealer. We saw FruitDealer use a Baneling bust in the last game, but this wall is pretty impervious to Baneling bust as soon as you get a bunker behind that wall. And it looks like STC will probably opt to either go for a fast starport with Banshee or to go for Hellions, and we'll see what his strategy is. Also, siege tanks are a possibility, as well as siege tank fast expand for the Terran player. Meanwhile, it looks like Cool is going to be FruitDealer. FruitDealer is going to be going for a relatively fast expo here. Already has a spawning pool down. Looks like he opened pool first into hatchery, and now he's starting to mine that gas. Almost certainly, we're going to see the first 100 gas invested into speed. Although, looks like a Roach Warren is going down, so we might see FruitDealer decide or opt to go for a Roach bus instead. We'll see what the plan is, and it looks like STC will be going for a very fast expansion here, considering that he doesn't really have that much to defend it with, and he's only got a measly army of Marines and Hellions. So we'll see if this expansion is going to hold to a Roach attack, and if FruitDealer decides to go for a Roach bust, which it looks like he is. He's not yet researched the metabolic boost, so he's saving up all of his gas to get out as many Roaches as he can, and he only needs 1 gas to fund a 2-hatch Roach play, because Roaches only cost 25 gas, and there you guys see 4 Roaches on the production tab. So this is already kind of unusual. Oftentimes Zerg will not go for early Roaches just because Marauders and tanks can do so much damage to them, but it looks like STC throwing down 2 more barracks to try to make sure he can secure this front door. But the first Hellion making its way in roasts up one of the drones. There's the Hellion I was wondering where it was. It kills off a drone, but with these Roaches out, I think that Cool will be able to deflect the flamethrowers and keep his economy alive. Now Cool has a decision. He can either leave the Roaches in his base to defend against the Hellions, or he can push out, and it looks like he's going to push out and try to pressure the enemy Terran player. Does he know about the expand? No, he does not. He doesn't know about the fast expo build. He did sacrifice an Overlord, or at least move in an Overlord, so he sees the mass barracks play just now being constructed. He knows he has a window of opportunity, but his drones are now exposed because he's moved the Roaches out of position, and the Hellions coming in, getting a couple of drone kills. The drones forced to run away. More drones coming down the ramp. Drones unfortunately cannot defend drones, and the Roaches desperately trying to make their way back into the Zerg natural to defend against the Hellions. The Queen left to fend for herself, and so many drones just went down in that last exchange. I think that the Zerg player was ahead in Harvester count, but just like that, the Terran player brings the game back into a very balanced state by roasting up a couple of drones, and now the game is very much at a very even level. I would even say the Terran player at a bit of an advantage right now, because he's got his bunkers up, his front door not going to be breached, and of course the Terran player has entire full map control. It looks like if I was FruitDealer right now, try to go for maybe Spire Tech, because you see that the enemy Terran really doesn't have all that much anti-air. He does have a handful of Marines. It looks like he's just going to be going for mass bio at this point, but he doesn't have any turrets. He's got Hellions, and if you go for Mutas right now, that could be a very powerful opening, but it looks like instead FruitDealer is going to be going for an infestation pit, and he's already got all of his gases almost up and running. He's got this is the last gas he needs. So, very interesting here. He might try to go for Roach Infester, which I've never really seen work all that well, but of course you have to remember fungal growth is so good against packs of Marines, and considering that STC hasn't gotten any heavy tanks or any heavy mech, he's got quite a few Marines. Perhaps Mutalisk wouldn't work all that well, but here we go. Hellions coming in once again. Gonna go behind the Zerg Natural. Gonna get a couple of drone kills once again. Are they gonna get a drone kill? Yes, they will get 2 right there, and a 3rd follow-up as well before the Roach is finally dispatched of the Hellion threat. And there you guys saw the Harvester count dropping right back to 36 apiece. So the Zerg player definitely being held at bay. oGs.TheStC now erecting his starport, almost certainly going to try to get reactor dropships out so that he can heal and fortify his bio army. And we do have some Zerglings moving out. No Baneling's Nest yet for FruitDealer. I would say that Infestor Baneling, it's such a good combination against mass bio, especially when it's just mass Marines. I really think going for Infestor Baneling right now would be really great, but it looks like he still hasn't not thrown down a Baneling's Nest, is using the Zerglings very well to scout, and he's also securing his 3rd. But at this point, it almost looks like he's just going to go with mass Infestor standard Zergling. And it can work, Infestors with fungal growth, if you repeatedly use them and there are no dropships to heal the Marines, then the Marines will eventually die to that contagious disease. That's just the way the cookie crumbles for the Terran if they're facing up against that nasty Infestor. But it looks like the STC will be pushing out here. Both players even on economy, 42 Harvesters apiece, a very large squadron of Marines. They do have Stimback that can easily snipe out this expansion. The Overlord will spot the Marines incoming. Also a couple dropships on the way. The Zerglings now mobilizing. Keep in mind the Infestors can use fungal growth. I think that STC might just be outmatched right here. He's at 86 supply, the Zerg at 80 however, and the expansion is getting stimmed down. The expansion will fall, but then the fungal growth comes out, and even the Broodlings coming out to fight as well. The dropships just coming out in the nick of time, but it looks like just too much damage there for the Terran player, so he's going to be forced to fall back. But look at all that blood just falling down onto the ground floor below as the creep proceeds. You guys can see though that attack I think was well worth it, forcing the expansion to die. So right there, I believe it was killed. I don't think it was canceled. So FruitDealer taking a hit to his economy now realizes he needs to get Baneling's Nest, and there it comes on the way, a Baneling's Nest, and the STC realizing he's not really facing up against any Mutalisks at all. So hey, let's go for tanks. And I do like this play, getting out 2 factories, pumping out tanks. He's getting the siege upgrade as well. And look at this, a dropship out of nowhere will get picked off by infested Terrans. So that's the other thing you got to watch out for when you're playing against Infestors, is those infested Terrans do quite a bit of damage to dropships. They hit air very hard, and here it goes. STC gonna be coming in with another drop, the hallmark of any good Terran player or any good player in general, constantly harassing. Even though it forces you to split your army apart, it can really in turn it can force the entire Zerg army to run back to the base, and there we see all the Zerg forces running back. The spawning pool gonna get focused down, fungal growth laying down. Will the pool fall? The pool falls, and the Zerg player now really in a hole because he cannot produce any more Zerglings, and he's forced to rebuild that spawning pool. So that's going to be about a minute and a half before he can get a spawning pool out. And so many peas there, I just spat a whole bunch onto my microphone, so hopefully you guys didn't hear that, but a little bit of a gruesome imagery. But you guys can see that the STC right now has a very menacing force, 106 supply, the Zerg player at 99, so the Zerg I do believe is behind, although his Harvester count is very healthy. He really hasn't lost all that many drones, even to the Hellion Harass, and he does have a third expansion up and running. So right now, the STC has to make an attack count. FruitDealer's macro is just too strong. Even though he's been harassed constantly, his economy is just too strong. The Terran player has to make something happen, either get a third or attack right now, and it looks like he is going to go for an attack right onto the front door. Fungal growth used on this dropship, but it is empty. That was a complete diversion tactic by STC to pull back the entire Zerg army into the main, and now the Terran player able to set up a contain right outside the front door. So what a great play there, using the dropship as a distraction, forcing the infestors to waste some energy, forcing the Zerg army back, and now the Terran army has contained the Zerg. Not good at all for FruitDealer. He is getting neural parasites, so do note that is on the way, and that can work decently well against siege tanks. Meanwhile, Lone Marauder from STC just kind of pounding his way right here on the hatchery, and it looks like some Marines and Marauders will venture forward. They're going to try to do some damage. Do note the insane APM from both these players, very high, 161, 175 apiece. Baneling's coming in with Fungal Growth, and that is the deadly combo against Terran. Baneling, Fungal Growth, it's just so good against Bio, and you really do need a lot more tanks in order to deal with that, and we do see more tanks on the way. But are we going to see the infestors use fungal growth, or excuse me, mind control on the tanks to counter that? So a lot of unit counters going on right here. One Hellion kind of make its way into the Terran, or into the Zerg natural, but it will get obliterated. Meanwhile, STC thinking he needs to push forward, but I don't know, has he overextended himself? The infestors coming forward, getting one mind control down, and the roaches here pushing forward. I think STC will have enough to take this down. Drones being forced to pull off the line. Very close game indeed. Note the Terran player now has secured his third, but it looks like FruitDealer taking too much damage there. Just allowing the Terran player to get that contain right outside his front natural is too brutal, and notice he never even got centrifugal hooks. He was just now about to get it, and that would have really helped a lot against the Bio, those Banelings with that increased movement speed. But unfortunately, it looks like STC is going to take this game against FruitDealer. Very well played there with that diversionary dropship to secure the front contain, and now the Marines are having a heyday inside the drone mineral line, killing off the Queen as well. And it looks like FruitDealer leaves the game, so, and calls GG after he leaves. I don't know how that worked, but yeah, GG from FruitDealer against against the STC. Very well played right there. I do like the bold expand here, and you guys remember at the beginning of the game, the Zerg player tried to go out with roaches to harass that, but unfortunately roaches without speed are very slow, and the Hellions were able to go and do some damage, force the roaches back, and towards the end, I gotta call attention to that dropship diversionary attack. I think the SEC used quite a few dropships in this game, but that last one was completely empty just to play mind games with the Zerg player, and there you guys saw the result of that. So good play by the Terran player, and hopefully you guys enjoyed that broadcast. I do believe that they are going to play a second game right after this. I believe there was a second replay, so I will go ahead and move on to cast that game, and stay tuned guys. HD signing out.